Welcome to the Seventh Dispensation Podcast. Today is the same day, and I'm just doing a little more for part three of the Divine Revelation, the holy book known as Alpha Quran, which means the criterion. And the criterion is the standard of measure in which you ascertain certain acts and certain behaviors, certain language, verbal words, or whatever, right? It's the standard of measure in which we ascertain right or wrong in our thoughts and behavior. And on that note, let's get back into it. The name of this chapter that we read from is called In the Mind of God. And it says, there has to be a restructuring of the process in which we acquire knowledge and understanding in order to create a new perception of life. This is how we widen our capacity to gain a deep and accurate, intuitive understanding of people and life's circumstances. A well-balanced person is one who can take a calm disposition when experiencing emotion and then is able to use sound intelligence or sound judgment as a means of resolving an issue. Wow! Man, do you see how powerful this divine revelation, this holy book called Alpha Quran is? Let me read that sentence one more time. A well-balanced person is one who can take a calm disposition when experiencing emotion and then is able to use sound judgment as a means of resolving an issue. Wow, the Alpha Quran is powerful. It says the key to growing into the mind of God. Now listen, it says the key to growing into the mind of God begins with setting just and necessary laws to govern our lives. Wow. It says we want to grow into the mind of God. We got to learn how to set just and necessary laws to our life. That we're going to live by these just and these necessary laws. This is what we're going to live by. This is what we're going to follow. Then it says we must live up to the standards of morality and then allow righteousness to become the center of our existence. There also has to be a greater respect for law and order. It says there also has to be a greater respect for the law and order of nature so that we can live in harmony with all of God's creation. All of God's creation. We're supposed to be living in harmony according to this holy book here. Not the King James, with the Mark Jones, the Christ Holy Book, the book of law. Now listen what it says. We have the power to rise into the thinking of God, but we first have to develop that potential and foster it with knowledge and proper guidance. Self-examination is the only way for a person to understand themselves and the condition of life that the self has placed them in. Man, oh, do you hear what this holy book said? The divine revelation called Alpha Quantum, which means the criterion. Now listen, I'm gonna read that one more time. Self-examination is the only way for a person to understand themselves and the condition of life that the self has placed them in. The next step is to learn more about God, because you cannot understand self unless you first understand the creator of self and his purpose for his creation. See, when you learn to act in accordance to the natural process of life, you are reflecting the mind of God. The thinking of God is a process by which we are more capable of actively manifesting the characteristics of the human being. Everything in life acts in accordance to its own nature, instinctively. But instinct has to be coupled by reason and contemplation. Man, listen, this book is so powerful. This chapter is like one of the longest chapters in the book. This is how much knowledge it is when you get to talk about the mind of God. The mind of God. So maybe I'm going to come back again later on tonight and I'm going to do another chapter, because this is so powerful, man, that I don't want to stop reading. And on that note, I leave you as I came. Peace.